And now, from around the board, it's Andy's Last Five with your host, Andy. The last 5 games I've played and what I thought of them. Number 5, Forges of Ravenshire. We talked about this on the show, and I was happy to finally get a hand on a copy of this. I did demo it at Gen Con and enjoyed it, and I was a little unwilling to get it because I thought $70-some MSRP seemed a bit much. The production quality is fantastic, so I gave it a lot of trouble for the amount, the MSRP, the price point, but maybe I shouldn't have because the production quality, absolutely great. You've got indented boards, player boards with great artwork, great components, great dice. The whole thing just comes together very nicely. It looks great on the board, and the color scheme looks great. And then also the way it packages it up in the box, the insert is fantastic as well with premium type inserts. It honestly looks like a deluxified version of some of the games that we've come to know and love lately, like Terraforming Mars and Castles of Burgundy. These kind of games that have been deluxified. I'm not going to complain about the production one stinking bit. What I will say is that I played it at 3 players, and I thought it was okay. There was a lot of shifting different components around, building your engine. It felt a little, I don't know, move this here to do this there, move this here to move that to do this here. A little bit of, almost a little too much of that, a little too much of like, I'm just moving things for the sake of moving things. However, the engine component is pretty cool in that you can build a cascading function in 3 different spots where if you end up doing this engine, it will make this action, this action, this action, this action, this action all go off one after the other, which is kind of cool. The theme, it is you are woodland creatures making, forging armor, weapons, and shields. It's okay. The theme's not bad. The game, again, is just beautiful on the table. I've got to play it again. I was a little disappointed in the swing of the scores. We played 3-player. First player came in with like 140-some points. Second player was 120-something. And then the third player was 70-something, which seems like quite a big gap. I'm not sure what I think about that. I usually like things when things are a little tighter and super competitive. But you know what? It deserves another playthrough, if for nothing else, how good it looks and some unique mechanics to it. That's Forges of Ravenshire. Before Forges of Ravenshire, I played number 4, and number 4 would be Deep Sea Endeavor. Deep Sea Endeavor, and I really like Deep Sea Endeavor. If you played Endeavor Age of Sail, I think you'll like this game. It has a few differences. In fact, one of the discussion points that we made on the last playthrough with a 5-player count, by the way, the max player count, we had a big discussion because a couple people were saying it's a totally different game and others of us were saying, no, it's the same game. Well, the answer is yes, it's both. The mechanics are similar. You've got your resource track that is very similar. Instead of building buildings in Age of Sail, you're building occupations. You're grabbing those, and you do that each round, and it increases your ability to do different actions and put different discs out on the board. Where it differs from Age of Sail is it's not nearly as confrontational because there are no cannons, and it's also not as controversial because there is no slavery. So those are both pros for most of us. Actually, I kind of like the confrontation. Definitely pro that we're not dealing with slavery. But I will say that what's interesting about this game in comparison is you are doing a lot more exploration. You do explore in Age of Sail, and you unlock certain regions, and you find out what the tokens are that are out there. In this one, though, you are building a board as you go by flipping tiles, and so it could look totally different from game to game. So I kind of like that. Endeavor Deep Sea is not a bad little game, especially if you like Age of Sail. I highly recommend it. Before playing that, number 3, what game did I play? Well, I can tell you, I played Lords of Vegas. Lords of Vegas is an older game, but they just recently came out with a Kickstarter version of it that added some new components, including making your casinos multiple levels, which acts as a multiplier. If you know how the original game worked, it multiplies even more how much you can score with your casino color. What do I think about this game? If you haven't played it before, I'm going to say it reminds me a little bit of Catan, and why I say that is because it involves some negotiation. It involves some hostile takeovers, race to get certain things, some dice rolling, card flipping. It's interesting. It feels a little bit like that, though. I'm not sure what I think of the open negotiation. As I was playing the game and as it was explained to me, there were all these rules that I thought were pretty cool as it was coming down to it. And then I was eventually told last that, oh, and by the way, you can also negotiate just about anything you want. There are a few exceptions. That ruined it just a little bit for me because I don't know that I like completely open worlds like that. When you get into negotiation games like that, there are tactics, there is strategy, there's certainly that. It's not just completely randomness, but it's not going to be as abstract and as strategic as some of you that really like heavy Euros. You might have a problem with this one, especially if you don't like the social aspect and negotiation. With the right crowd, though, Lords of Vegas is a lot of fun. So I'm going to give that one a recommendation and also make sure I get it to the table again soon. After that, number 2 was Cat in the Box. Cat in the Box is one I've played a bunch. And if you haven't played it, it's a trick-taking game with no suits. Well, sort of. There are suits, but the cards don't have suits. You name the suit as you play the cards. And there's a little track that you mark to let people know that particular card and that particular suit can no longer be played. So let's say I play a 7 and I claim it's a blue 7. Well, then I would mark off blue 7 on the tracker and no one else would be able to play a blue 7. You could play a 7 again, but it would have to be a different color. And if blue led, you need to play blue in order to win that trick, or play the trump color, which is red in this case. And so it's an interesting little trick-taking game. You want to avoid, I should say, what's called a paradox, where you have a number that cannot be played because all those numbers are taken. You've got 4 suits, red, yellow, green, blue, and red is the trump suit. Cat in the Box. Check it out. If you like trick-taking games at all, you've got to find a copy of this one because it's got such a unique twist. I think you'll like it. And then the last game I played, number 1, was Last Will, which is another oldie but goodie. If you don't know Last Will, you are missing out. It's a game based, if you've heard of the movie Brewster's Millions, are you familiar with that storyline or that plot line? Basically, you're given an amount of money, and everyone's given that equal amount of money. It could be a short game, maybe it's $70,000 to spend, or maybe it's a long game and it's $150,000 to spend. You want to spend it as quickly and extravagantly as possible, because if you do, you will inherit millions from your rich uncle who has decided to reward those who can have the most fun with his money. So you get to do crazy things like take trips to the opera. You get to take trips overseas, a cruise, and you can take people with you, and the more the merrier. If you take a pet, you take a partner, you take a personal chef, it helps you spend that money faster and more inefficiently. It's the opposite of what you would normally think. You'd think you'd want to try and work with a budget and not spend too much money. No. This game, you want to go all out, extravagant, and spend that money as fast as you can and do the craziest things you can, whether that means throwing a house party and wasting a lot of fine wine and alcohol and party favors and getting fine meals, or it means trashing the place so that it devalues in property. There's lots of different ways that you can spend money in Last Will, and you want to do it and do it upright. So it's a fun game, worker placement. Definitely one to check out if you never have before. That's my last 5. That's it. Thanks for checking it out. And as always, we love that you guys like and subscribe to our videos here at Around the Board. Check out youtube.com/Around the Board Show for more content and more material. We'll talk to you next time. This is Andy signing off.